This is a cheap little video because I am a cheap little guy who likes cheap little games and has very cheap time. You've decided you want to download Fire Emblem Shadows. A very weird game, isn't it? This has been out for a week, probably 2 weeks by the time I upload this video, and the meta is still relatively new. It's simple, of course. You just have these little AI characters going around, acting on their own, and then you cast a spell or an ability that alters the game a little bit. And there's a traitor, right? It's a pretty easy to understand gameplay loop. Though I am seeing some people still struggle with finding out who the traitor is supposed to be, which is a good thing. You don't want this game to be too predictable. But to help you out, I've noticed a few repeat behaviors based on who's playing who the traitor is, and how that traitor behaves. It's still pretty early on in the meta, like I said, but I think I've cracked this down to a science. Based around, well, you'll understand what I mean. Let's go ahead and let's start with Kurt. So, the traitor is Kurt. How can you tell? Well, first of all, they don't ever use their special skill. Kurt has this absolutely massive fireball skill. It is Inea Fire, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a 3x3 grid fireball. If Kurt is the traitor, you will never see them cast this. Because after all, it posts their face when they use this ability, and there's not like there's any other champion out there who can do this. If Kurt's the traitor, you will never see this cast when they're on the field. Along with it, current players tend to act like they just installed the game. They tend to act stupid, not really saying that they are stupid, but they pretend to be like that. If you see a player who's playing noobishly, they're probably banking on you thinking that they just installed the game and that you'll just glance over them. You're not going to take them seriously. If you're seeing a player use a lot of single target skills, or they might end up using the fireball in a way that results in a total party kill, and that might make you think, oh, you idiot, you just installed the game, that might be what they're going for. If you see a Kurt that's trying a little too hard to not seem suspicious, they probably are suspicious. But if they cast that Inea fireball, you can rest assured that they're probably not the traitor. Next up is Gotthold, and nobody plays Gotthold. You're playing Gotthold? Dude, what are you doing? This is the worst character in the game, man. I'm dead serious. Nobody plays as this guy. You're not going to see a traitor Gotthold. You're not going to see a Gotthold on your team. This guy is F tier, man. I mean, maybe he'll get buffed in the future. Maybe he'll go somewhere. But with traitor Gottholds, I've seen these before. Just about every Gotthold I do run into as a traitor. Gotthold has this really good buff. I mean, it actually is a really good buff. It really jacks up your defense. But if they're the traitor, you'll never see this move get used. So that's how you know if you ever see one of these guys. Don't expect these to pop up in your games. The next hero is Karina, who has another unique buff ability. If Karina's the traitor, you will never see this buff get used. And it's a really good buff. It's Cross Edge, where it helps you deal more damage, and then you get buffed with this. It's a cross too, where your Karina player might accidentally buff the enemy by mistake. That's not really a big deal if the enemy survives that attack, if it's used on your turn, and then they're about to attack, immediately kill that enemy before something terrible happens. But Karina players tend to be idiots when they're the traitors. I mean, just use the buff. That's a really good smokescreen to make it look like you're on the good guy's team. Just use the buff. But I've never seen a Karina player who is a traitor use that ability until we're in the moon room when they're using it on themselves and on their minions. Karina players, when they're the traitor, tend to suck to fight, but they're very easy to identify. So if you don't see that move get used, Karina's a traitor, hands down. Alberta players, you are tricky bastards. Alberta is very hard to spot. She probably is the best character in the game. After all, when I'm playing the light side, she's the character I go to for anything I need to get done. Alberta has a lot of very strong damage, a very good spell. It's a single target El Thunder spell. The exact name of it is El Thunder EX. Okay, simple enough, why did I even add that in? She's very dangerous. It is very hard to identify her as a traitor, and when she is a traitor, that lightning spell will be all you see in a fight, unless you're playing a green unit, but Karina, Skull, and Hati kind of suck in this game. If it's a Lin player, you got a fighting chance, but if not, you're pretty much screwed with Alberta. Alberta players act like team players. This is a very smart player who has identified that this is indeed the strongest character in the game and will make mincemeat of your party. And if Alberta is the traitor, you're probably toast, in all honesty. She's very dangerous, and I'm suspecting that she's going to get nerfed eventually as the game goes on. Because right now, she's sitting in a very good position. Alberta's players tend to frame people a lot, where they'll strike either you or themselves and then try to frame that on another player. That seems to be the go-to strategy between Alberta players. If you notice that one person's left alive at the end of the match, it's probably Alberta who's the traitor. And of course, if the Alberta is left alive and all of a sudden all the damaging spells stop, well, that's how you automatically know it's Alberta. So, yeah, I don't think it really matters. Alberta players aren't really concerned about whether or not anyone thinks they're the traitor or not, because she's just that strong. You gotta hope that you have a good build for the Moon Room, because that's where it's really going to count with her. She's very dangerous, guys. Very dangerous. Next up is Zasha. First off, if you play Zasha, fuck you. Fuck you, man. You're the most selfish dickhead if you're playing in the light room. If you're got a good guy Zasha, that guy's going to screw you over at some point. The fire warps, he's only going to use that to save himself. He's only going to use his pushes and pulls on himself. He's going to play very selfishly. And, dog, if there was a Zasha in your team, he's probably the traitor. He probably is. In the Moon Room, he is a nightmare to fight when he is the traitor. It's not like he's impossible to fight because the blue units in this game are very strong. It's just those constant teleports are going to get very irritating very fast, where it's just going to turn into a game of setting your trap and hoping Zasha falls into it. Where, if there's a Zasha on the field, it sounds like a generalization, but I tend to be right with it whenever this comes up. If there is a Zasha, that Zasha is the traitor. There's almost a 100% certainty. There was a day where I was playing this game where every Zasha player I met was the traitor. It is very easy to identify a bad Zasha when you see him, but it's also very hard to identify a good Zasha when you play them, because Zasha players tend to be very poor teammates. It's pretty annoying to fight Zasha, actually. I don't know whether or not he's good design or not. I mean, sure, he's really strong, and if you're playing as him and you're going into the Moon Room and you're the good guy, you're fighting against a traitor, you have pretty good survivability. But, dog, what is wrong with you people who play Zasha for real? Rose players. If Zasha is not the traitor, Rose is. Rose is annoying as hell to fight when she's the traitor because of that heal cross moves that she has. And she'll just spam this on herself. She'll count on minions to kill you. If you see a Rose player summoning minions in the Sun Room, they're definitely going to start summoning them in the Moon Room too, because that's her playbook. Just getting other minions to fight for her on her behalf and hoping that kills you. Rose has pretty poor defensive options, but she really is the best healer in this game. If you have a Rose player who's healing you, that's good. If she's healing you and herself, a little suspect, but nothing too bad. If she heals you only after you get shot, where it just seems, oh, that healing cross was just conveniently cast after the sting kills you, that's probably a Rose traitor. And if the healing just stops entirely when everyone except the Rose is dead, oh, you know she's a traitor. It's pretty easy to identify a traitor Rose when you see it. Just pray that you're playing as a blue unit if there is a Rose, because if she is the traitor, you're in for a long fight if she is the traitor. For real. Psy mains. These are actually getting pretty rare. I'm noticing less and less people are playing as Psy. And the heal warp is probably why. He switches places with somebody when you use the heal, where, sure, that'll be good in the Moon Room when you're about to get attacked and you need to swap out, but your only option is swapping with an enemy, and the enemy is going to heal before they take the damage that was sent to you. It's very rare to see a Psy player, and either the light side or the evil side. And he's alright, his stats are fine, him being a flyer is fine, him being a blue unit's fine, but like Gotthold, people are beginning to realize very quickly that Psy probably is one of the worst characters in this game because of that ability. And yeah, I think his ability is trash. You're probably not going to encounter a Psy on your team, but they're probably going to go for the TPK method. They're probably going to kill everyone in the room, including their own characters, before they move on to the Moon Room. When you see that happens and there's a Psy present, and there isn't a Zasha, isn't a Rose present already, you can safely bet that the Traitor is Psy. Shea players. Once again, like Kurt players, they're going to bank on you thinking that they're idiots. That spell that she has that's unique to her, the Tetra Thunder Wall. So that spell stinks, because if you summon a helper, they will target the wall. Your character will target the wall. If they're the traitor, their enemy friends will target the wall. It's really frustrating to play as a Shea. If you see that spell get used, not in a place where it's going to be convenient and the enemies are going to get stuck on the wall, yeah, you can say that she's probably not the traitor, but if she uses it very close to you, that player is probably banking on you getting stuck on that wall, your character attacking that wall over and over. And thankfully, you can only use that move once, and then that's it. But Shea players are also pretty rare. I still see Shea players, probably only because this week's challenge, as of recording, involves using her. And once again, she's pretty rare. If somebody's playing as her, it's because, oh, cute anime dragon girl. They're trying to relive this nostalgia of memories of Fa, Mer, Noe. Yeah, if you see a Shea, which you probably won't, just don't worry too much about her either, because in a traitor fight, she's gonna fall apart pretty quickly. So yeah, if you see one, even if you guess wrong, just don't worry. Don't worry about her. Skull players. Skull, I don't think he's really that strong of a character. His weird, unique spell, the X-Wind EX, great name guys, is very hard to aim. It's very tricky. Out of all the green units, if you're not spending money to get Lyn, he probably is the best only by process of elimination, and that's it really. He's really not that good, but people still play as him, probably because he's a wolf boy, where that's probably the only reason why I have him as my unit in terms of green characters. You know, take a look at our profile picture, take a look at what our channel is usually about, you're going to guess why. But Skull players, I'm not saying this because I main him, Skull players, whenever I see them, and I'm not the Skull player, tend to be geniuses in all honesty. They know they're playing with a character that's not the best, but still has a damaging move and can be useful in the right situation. These are guys who are using the pulls, using the pushes correctly. They tend to not be very good team players. They're trying to look out for themselves. You kind of have to in this game. But when you see a Skull, you can safely bet on the player who's using them, at least knowing what they're doing. If the Skull is a traitor, you will never see that EX-Wind, X-Wind get used. They will never use that. It will identify them as a traitor if it's used on you, because once again, it punches your face when you use that ability. You'll never see that move get used. Unless the Skull is trying to go for a TPK, where you're going to identify that the Skull is a traitor, but you're only going to see that strategy if both you and your partner are playing as blue units. So Skulls, alright, and not that big of a threat in the Moon Room. I do see traitor Skulls, but not as frequent as people who are playing as Zasha or, well, we'll get to his name after this guy. Hati players. Okay, real talk, uninstall the game. You're an actual idiot. Are you stupid, my guy? Every single Hati player I see is brain dead. You make the worst plays. You make the worst decisions. Hati's not that bad of a character, but good God, do you have two brain cells to rub together, my guy? Or are you just playing as her because, oh, a hot wolf girl? She has a terrible ability. In comparison to Alberta, L-Wind EX does nothing for you. It's just a single target ability. Dog, this character's trash and you're trash for playing as her. Uninstall the game, dude. If you see a Hati player, you can't identify whether or not they're traitor or ally because they're just going to play like they're stupid. So if there's no Zasha, if there's no Rose, and there's no Skull, or we're about to get to his name in the next character, you just assume that the Hati is the traitor because the Hati player never knows what he's doing. Seriously, what are you doing, guys? Alright, the character we've all been waiting for, Dimitri. Anytime you see a Dimitri, the Dimitri's the traitor. Well, there's one smoking gun, you can tell whether or not the Dimitri is a traitor. Whether or not they use that gigantic lightning cross attack, the Mega Cross Thunder EX, if you see that get used and it's used on enemies, fine. But Dimitri has a pretty bad reputation in this game. There's all these memes about traitor Dimitris. The Dimitri is always sus in any game that you go into. It's actually to your detriment if you play as Dimitri. because anyone who knows this game, at least on surface level, will suspect you as a traitor. If you're the good guy in the team, your teammate will suspect that you are the traitor. Your traitor will try to frame you, the Dimitri, as the traitor. So Dimitri's not in a good position right now. I don't really know how to fix Dimitri right now. If you see a Dimitri that's not using the Mega Cross Thunder and are trying to kill you, they're probably banking on a TPK. That's the one hope that Dimitri has by this point, because you're fighting an uphill battle. There's no way you can be sneaky with Dimitri. Whenever I play as Dimitri, people suspect me. Whenever I see Dimitri's, everyone suspects them. Dimitri's not in a very good position right now, and after all, you have to play as the Shadows if you want to get Dimitri unlocked. It's not a good call to play Dimitri, and if you see a Dimitri and there's not a Zasha player, not a Rose player who's following the hints that they're a traitor, it's the Dimitri. Just every time, you can safely bet on that, it's the Dimitri. The next three characters you see are pretty rare. You probably will go a full day or two without ever seeing anyone play as them, but just in case you do, here's your tips on them. Let's start off with Lynn first. Lynn plays very similarly to Alberta. She's a very strong character, very good character. I mean, she has to be because you're paying money for her. Not necessarily pay to win, but if you do pay for the pass and you do unlock her, she's really good, really strong, has all the same kind of tips and tricks as Alberta. Everything I said about Alberta earlier in this video, that applies to Lynn too. They play very similarly. And if a Lynn is a traitor, you're probably going to lose. I don't really have any strategies for fighting a Lynn. They just tend to come out the gate swinging. They're probably going to TPK you. It's not looking good, bros. You might as well just bag it up and just get ready for our next match. Tamamo. When was the last time you saw Tamamo get used in this game? She is very rare to see. And there's a reason why. She's very much a support character. That a unique ability that she has, what's it even called? Invigorate EX, where she boosts her max HP by 20. I think she can use this on other people too. Yeah, I say that with uncertainty because, dog, it's so rare to see Tamamo players, period. I've seen more Gottholds than Tamamos, really. And that's because of just all the hoops you gotta go through to unlock her. And sure, that ability is good. I've seen it get used before on Tamamo. It's good, and then I died and Tamamo died before it could go anywhere. If you see a Tamamo that is the traitor, you will never see that move get used on anyone except for the person playing as Tamamo. And that's it. They're going to be very self-centered. That move will never see use on anyone else. Or if it does get used on anyone else, actually, I don't know because I have very little experience with Tamamos. And so does anyone else that's playing this game because I rarely see any posts get made about her. Where I can safely say that just the same kind of advice I gave about Karina or Gotthold, where if they're playing very selfishly, only ever focusing on their own survival, the Tamamo is probably the killer. The Tamamo can just take their hands off the game and just let the enemies kill you, and then she'll just be ready to go in the next room because she's just going to buff her hit points up by 20% again, and then you're in for a long call of a fight. Great. I've fought a few Tamamos before. I tend to win consistently against her. She's not that strong of a unit. Alberta is really just a better version of her, and that's all I got to say about her. And lastly, we got Bartolomeus. Yeah, that's a name is a mouthful. Let's just call him Bart. Let's just do that. He's got the Enea Wind EX, so he's very similarly mechanically like Kurt, but unlike Kurt players who tend to assume that you're an idiot and that they're an idiot and that they can just go in and pretend to be noobs and hopefully sneak their way by as the traitor, but Bartolomeus players are pretty smart and all, actually. That Enea Wind, once again, if they're the traitor, they'll never use it, but they don't really have to because every single Bartolomeus player I've seen has just immediately gone for the TPK strategy. Once they're the traitor, they get super aggressive with you. I think you have to be the traitor to unlock this guy, and then once he is the traitor, he'll just be super aggressive. He's going to immediately come after you. If the entire board gets wiped, the Bartolomeus is more than likely the traitor in any game you encounter Bartolomeus in. I've only ever seen one good Bart player, And that's only because Dimitri was the traitor instead of him. He's got the traitor rate of Dimitri, basically. If you see a Bart player in this game, you can safely assume that he's a traitor. If he's playing super aggressively, then he is a traitor. So, yeah, hopefully that helps some of you out when it comes to identifying some traitors in this game, because Lord knows for a free-to-play game, some of you do need this advice. I guess I'll see you next video.